Hey everyone, it's Jonathan and welcome back to Wonderland Wednesday. Today I'm joined once more by Jenna and Sarah as we continue our three-part mini-series on some early 1950s promotional television specials for Walt Disney's Alice in Wonderland. Today we're looking at 1 Hour in Wonderland, which, unbeknownst to me, was Walt Disney's very first television special ever. It had all the regular hallmarks of a TV special of the time, like guest stars, musical numbers, and an egregious corporate sponsor, but with some, at times cheesy, but still kind of charming Disney touches, as Walt tried to figure out this new medium that he would eventually go on to dominate in years to come.
Is this the one with all the kids and the...
Yeah.
Yeah, this one starts out as a Coke commercial.
Oh,
I didn't realize it at first. I was like, oh yeah, this is the era where the commercials were just baked into the programs.
Well, they sponsored it. So
Yeah.
1 Hour in Wonderland. Sponsored by Coke.
And it was Coke was ever present in this thing.
Do you want drugs in your drink? Here you go. No, I'm pretty sure that was already done by this time.
yeah, probably.
I think it was anyway. I'm no expert on that.
Maybe depending on what crowd you're in.
All right, so we jump into it.
I think maybe we already did.
Yeah, I guess so. So really quick, I think the really interesting thing about this, I don't know if you guys realize that this is Disney's very first time doing their own television program ever.
Mm.
And I think that's really neat because you could kind of say this paved the way for, Disney ended up becoming a big name in television. They got their own channel and programming blocks and yada yada. So it's a pretty neat piece of history to be like, oh wow, you can trace it all from this special.
Okay, that's good to know.
I didn't realize this was the very first Disney special.
Yeah. Also, in comparison to every other early TV thing I've seen, which isn't very much, I'm no expert, but I've seen quite a few early TV stuff from like the 50s, especially in regards to like Alice's. Disney is so like perfect and polished compared to other TV programs that I've seen. It's kind of weird. Like I'm more used to like the Disney polishing, and then when I do see like a live TV program from the 50s, it like throws me off. Especially if you've seen like the 1954 Kraft Theater Alice, which is kind of a mess, which I'll bring up a little bit later again. And so it's just kind of like I don't know, it's just very interesting, like the contrast of how a lot of early television was so like brand new and very loose. And he's just coming in with like film polishing and want everything to be done a certain way and edited. We're not doing this live. It must have seemed pretty magical, I bet.
Maybe.
So you mentioned Kraft Theater. Did that also have Edgar Bergen?
Yes, that's what I was going to bring up.
Because when I started watching this, I was like, I feel like Sarah and I watched something years ago that we were going to do an episode on, we never did, that had Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy.
Yes.
And I thought, well, maybe this was it. But then that started happening. I was like, no, I have never seen this. So that must have been the thing we watched years ago and then never did an episode of Wonderland Wednesday on.
Oh, you never did it. You never.
Why would we watch? Have we ever watched something? And I feel like if we watched some.
At one point, I was looking up old like 1950s stuff, mostly promotional Disney stuff, and I was thinking we would do episodes of Wonderland Wednesday on. But I think that was probably 2018 when I was thinking about transitioning into podcasting, and I kind of just got out of doing Wonderland Wednesday as often, and then we just never did it.
Life interrupted, maybe.
Probably, yeah. But I knew there was something with Edgar Bergen, and then I never looked it up to figure out what it was. So when I started watching this, I was like, well, was this it? But then I did not remember anything with Mortimer Snerd in the show and trying to get Charlie McCarthy.
If you're trying to get cleaned up in that face, someone there.
So for anyone listening without any context, though, after this, in 1954, Edgar Bergen starred in the Kraft Theater television production of Alice in Wonderland, where it's essentially Alice in Wonderland with Edgar Bergen and his puppets or I shouldn't say puppets, dummies, just inserted in the story. It's very weird.
I like his dimple.
And then it's worth a watch, but
we should try and do that because I had planned on it one time years ago. Maybe the three of us can do that sometime in the future. It would be interesting.
But let me tell you, I first watched that in like a television archive because it wasn't available to watch outside of the archive at that time. And that was weird. I was like, what am I watching right now? At some point, a man goes in front of the camera. Like he didn't realize the camera was there. Um, just a lot of goofs.
I can see why Walt would be annoyed if that something like that was taking place on a live set.
So it's kind of fascinating that Edgar Bergen has been in two separate Alice things in the 50s.
Hmm.
So obviously one was more Alice than the other.
Yeah, this had a lot less Alice than I expected.
Yeah, can I just say Charlie McCarthy is such a creepy character that
That's
I
what
don't
I
think would
thought.
ever fly nowadays. I'm gonna,
I remember he was in Fun and Fancy Free. I don't remember him being a creepy little perv.
yeah,
Weren't they trying to like put him off as younger than he actually is?
And I wondered, but he looked like he's like 40.
that's the weird thing is that it kind of switches back and forth where he's like, oh, it's a child too, or maybe a teenager or something. But then he'll say something like he seems like he's older, and then it goes back. And
Yeah.
which again, if anyone's watching this or listening who hasn't watched it, it's like his character trait, or at least one of them, is essentially he flirts with little girls who are too innocent to realize he's flirting with them. It's very, very strange.
Yeah.
Are you talking about just in this special or in general?
In general, that seems to be the character trait. He does it in the 1954 Alice as well.
Makes me
So,
wonder about Bergen.
I had a
yeah,
fleeting thought of that, but I was hoping that he was just doing this as a joke for the puppet.
Right, like you're a cute girl, I'm gonna act like a little boy who's interested in you, even though I don't look like a little boy.
maybe, I don't know. It's kind of, honestly, the 50s were a strange time.
Nobody had impure intentions 70 years ago. They were all very righteous souls with no baser instincts.
I don't know anything about Edgar Bergen. I do know, he was influential for his time, and obviously he's very good at what he did.
I
Um,
know he was popular.
yeah. I know he inspired Jim Henson,
Hmm.
so it's like this ain't it. Go back and redo it, please. I really uncomfortable, especially even Catherine at one point, I feel like does a awkward laugh, like and I don't think it was meant to be awkward, but it feels that way to me, and I'm just like, I'm in pain with you. And the awkward laugh when you have a creep trying to flirt with you. And you're just like, yeah.
Now I'm thinking of this as like a meme format, like that feeling when a creepy puppet is hitting on you.
But it's funny. While I was watching this, I was like, "Oh wait, I think it's Goosebumps. They have like a Slappy character, like an evil ventriloquist dummy that falls in love with the real human girl." And I'm like, "Is that inspired by Edgar Bergen?"
Hmm.
I know the character you're talking about. I don't like I never read Goosebumps as a kid. I wasn't allowed to, but I remember that cover, the cover of the dummy book.
Yeah, but it feels very same vibes.
I would not be surprised if somebody has seen Charlie McCarthy and got weird vibes and decided this needs to be a horror character.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if it turns out that's the inspiration. But anyway, so now we've addressed it, and we can, you know, beat the horse till it's dead. That's creepy. Um, I will say, so Charlie seems to be the favorite dummy, and Mortimer's Nerd's kind of off in the corner. I will say I did actually laugh quite a few times at Mortimer's Nerd talking to the
I
creepy
did
doll.
too. I thought he was way funnier. He's just a little weirdo, and I liked that.
Oh, I like that he's apparently doesn't realize he's talking to an inanimate object because he is also an object. So he's just talking to a doll that never speaks back. Um, and I don't know, something about that was really funny. He had a few good lines. Did he have the car sick line? I don't remember, but that was funny.
Yeah, he kept acting like he was retching out the side of the vehicle.
Yeah.
I also like the scene where he does the mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of all, and the mirror says, "Art thou kidding?" I actually laughed at that.
Yeah. Oh, well, the mirror is Hook, by the way. That's fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
same actor.
thank you for that.
Yeah,
How did you feel about the mirror?
he's funny. Um, I don't think he fits into the lore very well of Disney overall, but it's funny. I don't know if I'd say it's cute. It's just
That's definitely like cute. I did
yeah.
laugh at the fact that he was insulted when they compared him to a television, and then after one of his scenes, he said it was done without the aid of vulgar knobs, tubes, and aerials.
And then also to use a common expression, I'm pooped. Like, but yeah, it is kind of funny. They have this magical mirror in their possession, and they just use it like a TV. Just use a TV, my dudes.
But that would be less theatrical.
That's true. Walt needed a reason to do the monologue, I suppose. But I just thought it's fun that what's his name? I think it's Hans Conried. Oh man, I might be
Yeah,
wrong. But
that sounds right.
yeah, I think it's fun that he's in this and Bobby Driscoll's in it, who would become Peter Pan.
I went, well, they were probably working on it at
Oh
that
yeah,
point.
100%. Walt was already thinking about the next picture.
I didn't realize that he was the voice of Peter Pan.
Bobby
Yeah,
Driscoll?
Hmm.
but that was his last big role, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, did the people should know that Coke is a health beverage and that they should stock it all the time so that when anybody comes over, you can give them Coca-Cola.
Oh yes. Yeah, this is an
According,
educational program um about and I learned how a good host always has not diet, sorry. I drink Diet Coke, but they should always have Coke on hand for hosting.
I mean, it's practically a vegetable.
um
It's
I
brown,
also
kind of like dirt, so good things
yeah,
come from dirt.
yeah, um totally. Oh, I did have a couple more notes. So I thought one thing that's kind of weird that happens in this that I think is very interesting Disney lore now, apparently, is so a character, I think might have been Edgar Bergen, accidentally sits on Donald Duck's voice, and he's
Oh
completely
yeah.
invisible. He hasn't been drawn to his voice yet, and Walt picks him up and throws him out to get drawn. And it's like, what is this lore? Like voices follow animators around to be animated. They're hunted by these voices. Like how did this happen? How
That
does this work?
that confused me. I was not sure what they were going for there. I think they were doing it to try and make a joke about the crossover between voice acting and ventriloquism, but it just
Yeah,
didn't make a whole lot of sense.
it
I
didn't.
didn't think about it that hard.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it probably was a ventriloquist thing because it came right after he was talking about throwing his voice, right? But it was, I don't know. I'm just
Oh,
like,
is
this
that,
has,
was it supposed to be a pun?
yeah. Does he Walt throws Donald's voice out, yeah. And
Wow.
I'm like, this has confusing implications for the Disney universe. And then the other note I have is interesting. We have Disney's daughters in on this too, and they even have a line.
Did they do much with, because I don't remember seeing them in anything else before.
No, I don't think so. They weren't really put on screen or anything normally, so this was pretty rare for them.
Hmm.
Um,
Maybe it was because, I don't know, maybe part of it was the fact that it was the first television special and just getting in on something unique.
True.
Yeah, maybe.
I think also there's kind of a story reason for them to even be involved here. So I forgot to mention this when we were talking about hitting on young girls. So this whole party is mostly young girls at the Disney Studios. The plot line being it's Catherine Beaumont has arranged this party, and there were probably her friends or whatever. So I guess Walt saw an opportunity to put his daughters in here naturally and have a joke about him being a character eccentric, you know,
Hmm.
because their whole bit is, yes, he's our father. But yeah, so I don't know if they appeared in anything else.
Yeah, this is the first time I'd ever noticed them in anything, but I'm not too familiar with them, so if they were in something and not called out by name, I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible maybe they were in background stuff, but I have no idea. I'm not a Disney expert, believe it or not. Looking it up. Um, no, they're not in anything else. This is it. Oh, okay. I might have been in Christmas with Walt Disney, but that has a she was a narrator in that 2009 Diane Pixar story 2007. So like this is the only thing she did when her dad was alive.
Hmm.
Isn't, oh man, I'm thinking about Coca-Cola and pizza.
Oh gosh, now I want some. Thanks.
But not like Coca-Cola. I need like the hippie version and a gluten-free pizza. Oh, Supreme. Thank you very much. Anyway, uh, not super helpful, but diverting.
I know,
Um,
I think it's very helpful because now that's what I want. Um,
Advertising is working after the fact, sort of.
just goes to show you, sponsors, that if your advertising can work years after the fact.
Mm, they might be proud.
Yeah.
I feel like there are other things that could be said about this that I'm not thinking of right now. I mean, one of them being for the people watching this special who may have seen Snow White in theater, how much opportunity would they have had to relive that scene that they played again? So that was
Oh
probably
yeah.
special for people, for
We
for peepers, for people.
we should talk about that. Like that actually would have been a really big deal.
I wondered that with specifically Snow White, but I think all of the things that they showed were probably something that nobody had had an opportunity to see again
Yeah.
after it had been in the theater.
Yeah, like
Which would
think about it. This is
stink.
like the first time Snow White was on TV.
Mm,
It's kind of nuts.
Like if I could time travel, I think it would have been cool to see the premiere of Snow White.
Oh yeah.
And that probably meant so much to different people back then to have to relive it that way a little bit.
hmm
Was yeah, it was probably pretty cool.
I think,
Yeah.
in terms of like Disney history, at any point being a 90s kid onwards, we're spoiled, right?
Mm.
We get to watch Disney movies anytime we want.
hmm
Um,
Did this special come out in 1950 or 51?
I think it was 1950.
And then Snow White was that 38?
I think it was
I think
37.
so.
30,
37. So like you could conceivably have people who were kids who saw that and have now grown up getting to see a little bit of it again.
yeah. I think Snow White did have a re-release at some point between that.
Yeah.
But I don't remember when that. I wouldn't know when that was. Hold on. Actually, this is interesting. When was it? Re-releases. Because Disney films in general were very unique for having re-releases. Were there any other films that happened to? Maybe Wizard of Oz?
Like them actually playing it again in the theater.
Yeah, before television.
See, that would absolutely stink if you go to the theater and you love what you saw, and okay, never gonna see that again unless you live 70 more years and they start putting it out.
On Wikipedia, it says Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was first re-released in 1944 to raise revenue for the Disney studio during World War II period.
Hmm.
Mm, that makes sense. They were really struggling during that time.
It says this re-release set a tradition of re-releasing Disney animated features every few years, and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was re-released to theaters in 1952, 58, 67, 75, 83, 87, and 93.
I remember the 1993 one, not actually going because I was only a year old, but like the amount of how excited people were about it, and there was so much merchandise and everything. It was big.
Hmm.
But yeah, so like people who saw this clip, they hadn't seen it since 1944. It's like 5 years-ish, six. I'm dumb.
6
6 years. That's a
at
long
least.
time. I could watch Snow White right now if I wanted to. I could leave you guys and just watch Snow White. Easy.
Hmm.
So I do feel like we kind of don't have the context of how big this probably was at the time.
Yeah,
Just see clips of people's favorite Disney films.
Yeah, that's true. Because when I was watching this, I was thinking, like, why do we need to see all of these clips of all of these things? Like, because I'm going into this expecting Wonderland. It's
Yeah.
called 1 Hour in Wonderland. And like halfway through, I was like, I've been watching this for like 30 minutes, and we just had them talking about Alice at the beginning, and now we're watching Snow White and a Mickey cartoon and Song of the South. It's like,
Did anybody else find that Mickey cartoon to be one of those slightly frustrating things?
The clock
Like
one?
sometimes, like some things are funny, some things keep you engaged, and other things you're like, oh, come
Yeah.
on, just get it together, make it stop.
I feel like that's a lot of early cartoons.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that one being a little bit more frustrating though. It's not my it's like up there with Mickey Mouse cartoons, but it's not the best one. I'm kind of surprised they chose it when there's like better ones.
I guess it's okay because I don't know if I'd ever seen it before. Maybe I might have seen it before.
I had it on a tape when I was little.
I don't know that I'd seen it, but the Pluto cartoon is the one I know I'd seen.
Did it have
Yeah.
been something if they called out Steamboat Willie for this?
Actually, that would have been I feel like that would have been specialer, but
Like with all the
yeah.
parents or whatever. I remember
Walt's like, I want to relive this cinematic masterpiece I did. Play Steamboat Willie.
that.
His daughter's like, oh no, not this again. But yeah, I feel like not the greatest choice of the Mickey Mouse cartoon selection, but I guess anything would have been impressive.
I might have to watch Steamboat Willie tonight.
Well, there you go. I have to eat pizza because of what you said. Now you have to watch Steamboat Willie.
Oh man, I don't have any pizza at home. Anyway, but you enjoy it and think
I live
of
by a
me.
pizza place. I'm very fortunate. Think of
Mm.
me. Anyway,
Yeah, what kind are you gonna get?
um, be prepared to be prepared to hate me. I like Hawaiian pizza.
I love Hawaiian
She does
pizza.
too.
Yes,
Oh, it's
yay!
so good.
Me too. I think it's great. I love the pineapple.
Yes.
And the cheese together is good.
Mm, juicy and
Yes,
warm.
I'm not one who hates it. I like Supreme, so my favorite is Supreme, but Hawaiian is fine,
I
especially
love
when Sasha, her sister, makes it. Like she made one that
nice.
was made with crushed pineapple and shredded ham. It was really good. That
Oh,
was like the best Hawaiian pizza I've ever had, and no one has replicated it.
See, I like the
that sounds nice.
chunks. I like the chunks. I
I
want
do like chunks, but I would try. I would try that.
and
Sounds interesting.
I love Supreme too. So yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
uh
Anyway, it's nice to meet people who have taste.
I feel like most people who hate pineapple on pizza have never actually had pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, I feel like that's the case, but it's also like, who cares if you don't like it?
Yeah, the whole
I
people hating other people for liking it is weird.
I think it's weird. I'm just like, you don't have to eat it. I'm eating it. So, yeah, but anyway, be prepared for people to be like, how dare you if you leave this.
um,
Um, I think that's what's missing from the special is eating pizza
oh
with Coke
man.
at Christmas time because oh yeah, we have Santa at the beginning as well.
I was wondering how they filmed that. Did he do everything backwards? Because like the presents flew
Backwards.
up into his hand. But
Yeah, it's
he must
backwards.
have practiced well because it looked good. Like, because I was trying to think of him having to do all of that backwards, and it looked natural. So I feel like they did a good job with that.
I mean, yeah, but I kind of hate it. It feels really off to me. I think I think that it just goes on for too long that my brain just goes
Well, yeah.
bad. Something
It was
bad's
weird.
here.
I
Yeah.
just mean the him walking back and forth to the tree to the bag. That looked natural enough.
Oh yeah, he does that very well actually.
But yes, it did go on too long. It was strange.
Honestly, I think it was too much effort for what they were doing. Like how
Coke
much they
spares
had
no
to probably
expense.
practice
They've
that.
got to get that Coke plug in
Yeah.
there.
The director's like, I have a vision. Like, I don't want to just do a Coke ad. I need to do it this way because then that makes it special. Just do it, do it. Yeah,
Bring out the
like that.
Coca-Cola, babe.
Then I need the magic mirror in the middle of this thing to get really parched, and then they need to stop and drink Coke.
Yeah, that was kind of, yeah, way to degrade the magic mirror.
People always like, criticize modern day Disney for like financials and sponsorships and stuff. And it's like, I don't know, Walt did a lot of tacky shit too. So sorry for saying the S word. But
You said stuff, right? It was just, he did
no,
tacky stuff. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I said, oh, stuff, yes, stuff. It took me a while to
No,
catch
this
on.
is the swear word that I used. Listen to me, you know?
Stuff. Anyway, he did some tacky stuff too. Yep.
If he edits that out, then they're always going to know why I'm laughing.
I can put a beep over it.
It's up to you. You can be over it. Or I could do another take, I suppose, if you want.
No, it's fine. I think it'll
Okay.
be funnier.
Anyway, you're just saying that it didn't start today.
Yeah,
And the sacred founder was not above such things.
people forget that Walt was a person who also like needed money to do things. So yeah, I mean, look at like early Disneyland. Everything had a sponsorship, and he didn't really want it to be that way, but he
They
knew
had
he
a
had to
whole
do it.
tuna salad stand for a pirate ship.
Yeah, essentially, it was really good tuna, I hear, but
This is so
yeah.
out of context in my brain right now. I don't even know what they had a whole tuna salad stand for a pirate ship. What the heck
They
are we
had
even talking about?
they had a pirate ship restaurant. It's themed after the Jolly Roger, but it was basically you went in there and you would eat tuna sandwiches.
But it was Chicken of the Sea, specifically
Yeah.
branded Chicken of the Sea.
And this was related to Disney?
They paid to be there.
Oh, it was at Disneyland. Yeah.
Now you're gonna make me want a tuna salad sandwich. And I ate. I'm not actually hungry right now. You're making me think about yummy food.
This is going to be the most bizarre podcast.
Disney's had some weird sponsorships over the years, is our point, and that they haven't always promoted them in non-tacky ways.
Well, I mean, this is better than a lot of the old like this is nothing new to the TV of that era because you had
Yeah.
like I Love Lucy was sponsored by cigarettes and like it didn't have the iconic
Oh gosh.
opening until years later because they had a cigarette opening.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see that now.
Or even like a lot of other television stuff was really heavy-handed with their commercials.
Yeah. No, this
Yeah.
is nothing new.
Yeah.
This is probably more restrained than some of them.
Yeah. And actually, like, I think it's edited out of so 1955 Hallmark has this really long intermission in the middle of it talking about Hallmark cards, the different occasions they could be used for, and it is so boring. And I think it was cut out of the version people like see nowadays on the internet.
I was going to say I don't remember
Yeah.
that, but I believe you.
In the Alice
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, the 50s
Yeah.
one,
Can
which
I
makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
quick rabbit trail? Very quick rabbit trail. I feel
Okay.
like one of the I have issues with, don't hate me, Hallmark people. I have issues with modern day Hallmark. But growing up, one of the special things about watching a Hallmark movie was the touchy-feely commercials, like the feel-good commercials in between, like, oh, they all got together and remembered their old basketball coach or whatever. It's so beautiful. It's special again. Anyway, it was just stuff like
I don't remember the commercials. I would love to watch like an old Hallmark Channel thing again. I tried like newer Hallmark movies and it's not the same.
okay, so it's
Yeah.
probably 90s, early 2000s, like you and I are about the same age. So,
Yeah.
but they would create like this whole little vignette or story that would, be moving or just hit you in the feels in a nice way. And it was just a commercial, but yeah, when you care enough to send the very best.
Yeah.
We'll pause here and we will be back next week for more promotional Alice material. But until then, do you want to let people know where they can find you if they want more from you? Sarah?
Well, I do watercolor art on most of the bulk of my work right now is on Redbubble under Turnip Wilson, a variety of styles, but there is whimsical art and realistic art and stuff that would fit well with what we talk about.
And Jenna?
I am Phantomwise on YouTube and Love Gift of a Fairy Tale on YouTube as well.
Okay. Well, we will see you next time to talk about the Fred Waring show. Or is it Waring?
See you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Wonderland Wednesday. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and follow my co-hosts as well. My link tree and all of our links will be in the description below. If you want more of my content, all my podcasts are available on YouTube as well as most podcast platforms. If you enjoyed this show, check out one of the other podcasts or check out my Patreon for bonus and extended episodes you won't find anywhere else. We'll be back soon with another brand new episode, so thanks for listening and we'll see you next time.